Change is one of those things in entertainment that is very rarely embraced. It takes a very skilled production to change a main character in a TV show and to have it come off without a hitch. That's why I am so nervous about what's going to happen to The Office after the season, after Steve Carell leaves as Michael Scott, to see exactly what happens. Now, I'm going to give you two very controversial opinions. They're not really controversial, I apologize. They're more just basically thought of as wrong. Let's just say that. Two opinions of mine that most people would think are wrong as to why I'm kind of worried about how this is going to happen. Number one, I don't think Will Ferrell is a great actor. Now, notice I didn't say he's not funny. The guy can be funny. He was great in SNL sketches. He plays some great characters in movies that are very funny and hilarious. But I don't know that I've ever seen him actually find that acting moment that would make me go, oh, there's something more to this guy than being a man-child, which is kind of his go-to shtick. So, not that that can't work on The Office, but the beauty of Michael Scott, the beauty of Steve Carell even, is that even though he is goofy and completely unconscious of how rude he can be as this character Michael Scott, there's a depth to the character where you empathize with him, where you care about him. Now also understand, I know Will Ferrell is not replacing him long term, just for a few episodes, but that's one reason to get nervous. The other reason is, I've heard the name Ricky Gervais a lot, and here's the second opinion that most people would think is wrong. I think Ricky Gervais in the original Office isn't funny. I did say he isn't funny. And usually I get British humor, English humor. It's dry. I love it. I get it. I get that sensibility. I watched the original British version of The Office, and it just does not appeal to me, especially Ricky Gervais's character. It is too rude, too crass, too out of touch for me to even identify with it as a real person, as some sort of something that I can laugh at. It just feels too ugly, I guess, in a lot of ways. Now, some of the periphery characters I like better in the British version of The Office. Jim's character in the British version of The Office, and please forgive me for not knowing the British one as well, but Martin Freeman, I think, plays it in the British version, is a great character, and I love him in that show, even more than I love Jim in the American show, but for the most part, Ricky Gervais, I just cannot handle in that role, and it sounds like he's going to bring that role to the American version of The Office, at least for another cameo. And that just makes me nervous. I will probably remain nervous about where The Office is going and what it's going to be like until I know for sure who's going to be the long-term replacement for Steve Carell. If there's even going to be one, maybe they'll just let this cast take over and be what they need to be to make this show great. And that's very possible. I like a lot of members of this cast, and I think they can do a great job. If you ask my honest opinion, I think The Office probably has another couple decent years in it. I think its funniest years are behind it. I think most people would agree with that, but I think that it's got a couple more years of watchability left, and then we all just kind of need to move on to the next thing, I think.